Namaste. Good to see you again. Wanted to offer up a practice that I think is pretty good for this time of what we're going through. It's going to pretty much hit all of our hot spots where we kind of secretly hold on to tension. Like my cat here, Frank Sinatra. He does not secretly hold on to tension. We're going to start from the eyes all the way down. And what this is to do is to help us kind of move stress and tension through our bodies, right? Because we tend to kind of hold on to them, maybe in the shoulders or the eyebrows or the jaw. And then they kind of take up residence there for a good period of time. Prop-wise, a block will be very helpful to have. If you don't have one, you could stack a couple of books together and then maybe put like a blanket over those, or just a really firm cushion. Could also feel really nice. I want to make sure I have my timer available because there's going to be a couple of poses that we're going to start timing. But in the meantime, bring your hands to your thighs and just let your eyes, to your thighs rather, and let your eyes close down. Take a deep breath in and a big sigh out. Let's do that a couple of times. One more time. See if you can let your breath just kind of land in a natural rhythm. We're not going to focus too much on breath. I just want you to just be mindful that you are breathing in and out and that you're not holding on to any of that breath. And you can keep your eyes closed as you raise your eyebrows high up onto your forehead. And then just let them slide down. 2 more times like that. Like eyebrows high up like you just heard something really shocking and surprising. And then let them fall back down. 1 more time. Squeeze your eyes shut. And then soften them. Again, squeeze and soften. 1 more time. Then open your jaw wide, maybe even stick out your tongue. Inhale. Exhale, roll your shoulders back and down. We're going to take both arms up alongside our head. Interlace your fingers, press your palms up towards the ceiling. Take a big breath in. Exhale. Round into a little bit of cat pose here. I tell you, ever since I started doing this, Frank has become quite enamored with the camera. Frank is the cat, by the way. Inhale, bring it back up. Exhale, let's do that again. 1 more time. Inhale up. This time on the exhale, as you come forward, stay in this rounded shape. Press your hands forward, almost like you were pressing them into a wall. Round into those back ribs. Let your breath move into those ribs. Then inhale, lengthen up. Exhale, we're going to bring the arms down, interlace the hands behind you. Reach that fist for the wall behind you. Look over that right shoulder. You might tip the chin down just a little bit. Just holding this for a few breaths. Again, just make sure that you're breathing in and out. We'll bring the head back to the center. While the hands are behind you, switch them. Put the opposite hand on top. And then look over that left shoulder. And again, just kind of tip your chin down a little bit. If this sitting on the heels thing is not feeling great for you, by all means feel free to come out and into a cross-leg position. Then as we bring the head back to the center, we're going to bring the hands back to our thighs. Give a little shrug there. You can really almost already feel a difference in the chest and shoulders, like you can feel that blood flow kind of coming already. We're going to take our right hand behind us, just to the small of the back. And then we're going to drop our left ear over towards the left shoulder and bring your chin in just a little bit. And you might have to bring this left hand to your chest just to kind of encourage that arm back and that shoulder blade onto your back. And then you can stay right here, or you can wrap this right arm a little bit more around you, and maybe you take a hold of this left forearm. You could scratch your ear like Frank Sinatra. He almost never does this. Look over that left shoulder. We are not the only ones stress eating. As appetite is quite healthy right now. Take another breath in. On the exhale, we're going to let go of the arm, bring the head back to the center. Always love to do this. If you take your arms out in front of you, right arm a little longer than your left. Wrap this left hand behind you. This side is being particularly not so cooperative with me today. Right ear towards your right shoulder. Tip your chin down. Maybe you wrap it around a little more and you take a hold of that right arm. Adjust that chin as you need to, maybe even looking down off the right side of your mat. And on that next breath, we'll free it up. We'll shrug and roll. Let's give ourselves a little twist here. So left hand to the right knee, right hand behind you. A small twist to the right. You're not trying to make any big sweeping changes here. Take another inhale. Exhale to the center. Let's take it to the other side. Right hand, left knee, left hand behind you. A little bit of a twist to the left. And then we're going to come back to center. Let's make our way onto cat-cow. Now, if you were sitting on those heels, when you come forward into that tabletop, you might want to send one leg back and press through that heel. Give that leg a little stretch. And then switch it. Other one. Oh, goodness. These legs were angry on me today. So then finding your shape of cat-cow. So shoulders over wrist, hips over the knees. Inhale, soften into cow pose. Exhale, round into cat. 3 more. Inhale into cow. Exhale into cat. 1 more. Inhale. This time on that exhale, as you come into cat pose, flip those toes under. Try to get them all on your mat. Then we're going to shift the hips to those heels. You could stay here because this is pretty sensational on the soles of the feet. Or you could bring a folded blanket with you. Put that between your heels and your butt and maybe sit up onto the heels. If you don't feel like you need that blanket, you can take that out of the factor there and just sit your hips to your heels rather. It's a lot harder to get your heels to your hips. Just look straight ahead. If you want bonus shoulder stuff, bring the arms behind you. Take a hold of opposite elbow or forearm or wrist. And then as you do that, try not to pop your ribs out here. Try to keep that tailbone curled under and the ribs knitted in. How many of you are cursing me because we're still in this shape? Let's do it. 2 more breaths. All right, then on that exhale, we'll free the arms up, walk back into that shape of tabletop, hands under your shoulders, big breath in, exhale, uncurl the toes and either come to child's pose or keep toes curled under and take downward facing dog. Chin heavy towards your chest so the back of the neck gets a nice stretch here. If you are obsessively looking at your phone, you know who you are. That neck is getting real cranky, I can assure you. And then we're going to look forward. We're going to bring that right foot forward between our hands. So you can come forward a little bit to help you in that process. We're going to keep the left knee lifted. We're going to keep left hand under left shoulder, right hand on right leg, taking a twist towards the right. And then you could stay in this shape, or you can let that right foot walk over to the right about an inch or so and turn the toe out, and then that could deepen that twist for you. And then maybe that right hand reaches up into the sky. And breathe. Take another breath in. On the exhale, walk that right foot back under your chest. Right hand to the floor. Back to downward facing dog. Full breath in. Full breath out. Looking forward. Again, you can come into a little bit of plank shape here to help you get that left foot forward. Keep that right knee lifted. If that's not comfortable, do come down, but this just kind of gives you a little bit of leverage in that twist. Taking that twist to the left. Again, you can stay here pretty narrow with the twist, or walk your left foot to the left, and maybe turn the toes out a little bit. And then maybe this left hand up into the sky. And breathe. Take another deep breath in. On the exhale, hands to the floor. Back to that shape of downward facing dog. Full breath in, full breath out. Knees to your mat. We're going to come onto our seat. So you can either swing the legs around or cross your ankles and sit back behind the feet. So we're going to go into a pose called fire log. It's a cross-leg position. You're going to bring this left leg on the bottom. Think about your left shin lining up with the edge of your mat. Your right shin is either going to stack on top, or if you kind of get there and you're sort of twisting the ankle and your knees like this, consider just bringing that right leg to the floor. This is the one I wanted to time. So reach back, kind of get some junk out your trunk here. Flex your feet. Here we go. We're just going to hinge forward just a little bit. Take your hands pretty wide. We're going to add some shoulders onto it in just a moment, but I want your hips to kind of become somewhat cooperative for you in this pose. If you find that you're clenching those glutes, wiggle into them. You want to try to soften as much as you can here. All right, then we're going to bring the torso back up. So our right leg is on top or in front. We're going to do little eagle arms. So bring your arms out kind of like little goalposts here. And as you bring them in the front, you're going to wrap that right elbow under your left and see if you can wrap your forearms around each other. Now, this is not available to you for shoulder or upper back reasons. Either just give yourself a hug with that right arm on the bottom, or you could press forearms, palms together, or you could just bring this right arm across the chest and kind of hook it with that left hand. I love to do the little eagle arms though, because it really helps you get into that space right between those shoulder blades. Drop your chin down a little bit. It would be a very unflattering FaceTime angle if you were to answer a face message like this. Breathe into that upper back, into those back ribs. Add a little bit of rounding here. So almost like you were trying to bring your elbows to maybe like the bottom rib. And then if you wanted, you could also hinge forward about 20% or so. Keep those feet flexed. Exhaling through the mouth. Really helps you sort of find your relaxation response in this pose. And then for the last bit of this pose, we're going to unwrap the arms, let your hands come to the floor, and then just round over the legs. Yeah, you agree? About 30 more seconds here, y'all. And this would be a great place to check in that you're not clenching your jaw or making angry eyebrows or holding your breath. All right, so start to roll yourself up. You could use the hands to help you free up the legs, or bring the hands behind you, lean back. Send out that right leg. Oh, send out that left leg. Kind of like we did with the arms earlier. If you look down, your right leg is a tad longer than your left. A little bit of movement here. So a little pedaling out of the legs, cracking your toes. It's just a bad habit that I have. And then we're going to put the right leg on the bottom. Left leg on top or in front. Junk tends to kind of sneak back into the trunk. So reach back there, pull it out of the way. Again, we're just going to hinge forward just for about 30 seconds, just so that left hip, you know, the left, it's believed in some schools of yoga and a lot of other body works that your left side of your body tends to be your emotional side, to where you hold on to a lot of your emotional baggage. Just saying. Then we're going to bring ourselves up. Same thing. So you have that option, left arm on the bottom to give yourself a hug, to press the hands together, to do this little crisscross, or to wrap that left arm under your right. And start, pretty tall here. These are eagle arms on firelog legs. Might be a tad unpatriotic, but it's one of my favorite combinations to do here. And then maybe you introduce that little bit of rounding here. Like maybe this eagle just doesn't have the best posture. He kind of slumps through. He had a growth spurt at an early age, and he's very self-conscious about being taller than his classmates. Too much information. Then maybe you round into it a little bit more. You hinge forward about 20-30%. Let your chin rest on your chest. Breathe into those back ribs. Again, keep those feet flexed. About 10 more seconds for this little arm variation. Then we're going to unwrap, and then just fold over. Don't you get annoyed when you take like a yoga class or you do a yoga video and the teacher just makes it all look so effortless and easy? See, I let you know that I am struggling with this because I care. And then we're going to roll up. Again, hands can come behind you. Send out that left leg. Send out that right leg. A little shaking of the legs. All right, we're going to go onto the back and we're going to do a pretty long bridge pose. This is where the block is going to come in handy. So again, if you don't have the block, you can take a couple of blankets, fold them up, and then stack them on top of each other, almost like a little makeshift bolster, a really firm cushion, or something like that. Because we're going to be in this bridge for a little bit. I'm going to reset my timer. So come onto your back, knees bent, feet on the floor. Lift up your hips enough to slide the block up underneath your low back and tailbone. You just want to make sure it's not so far up that your butt is kind of hanging off the edge there. All right? And then you're going to let the block do the work. So arms are going to just come beside you, palms up if you want to open up across that chest. You know, right now in Charleston, like the pollen is just crazy. So it almost feels like, you're just being assaulted by nature. So this really helps you to open up the ribs and the chest. If you feel like that block is too low, you could turn it up a notch. If I'm using one block, I tend to not like to go higher than this because it's not very sturdy or stable. But if you had two blocks, you could stack them on top of each other at their low setting. So then you could stay right here, or you could send this left leg out onto the floor and let that left foot just kind of flop open. You're going to get into this left hip flexor and a little bit of upper left thigh. You could stay right here, or you could hug this right knee into the chest at the same time. And I'm going to turn my head back to the center just because when I hug that knee in, weirdly, it kind of tweaks your neck a little bit if you've got it turned in either direction. It's interesting that your piriformis and your neck would work together like that. I guess it turns out that John Mayer was right and the body is in fact a wonderland. If this is too much with this knee to chest, feel free to bring this right foot back to the floor. We're just going to do about 3 more breaths here. All right, then we're going to return the right foot to the floor, return the left foot to the floor. Full breath in, full breath out. Then we're going to send out that right leg. You might kind of roll the foot in and out a couple of times. Start here. Then maybe you hug that left knee into the chest. Again, if you're on one block that's on the second setting, it can feel a little weeble wobbly. That's why you wouldn't want to go up to the tall setting on this block because it would give you very little landscape to kind of work around. 5 more breaths here. This is so good if you're a runner or a cyclist, anything where there's a lot of contract release of these hip flexors. This is also really good if you have been sitting on your couch for the last 2 weeks, binge watching Netflix or anything like that. All right, right foot to the floor, left foot to the floor. Big breath in, big breath out. Then we're going to send both legs out. Now, this is not great for your low back or your hip flexors. Feel free to just come back to bridge pose. You're still going to get some degree of a hip flexor stretch there. Let's do this for about 45 seconds. Let your breath find its natural rhythm. Let your eyes close here, because you're probably just looking up at your ceiling, and if you have a ceiling fan, you'll see that it needs to be dusted, or you'll see little cobwebs in corners. I'm not seeing any of those, just for the record. I'm only thinking of you. About 15 more seconds. And then we're going to bring those feet back to your mat. There's a little cat paw. Lift up your hips enough to slide the block out from underneath you. I like to bring it up near the top of my mat so it'll be out of the way. Big breath. Fill up the belly, the ribs, the chest. Open the mouth. Exhale. Again, big breath. Belly, ribs, chest. Big open mouth. Exhale. And then you're going to roll onto your left side. So this pose is one of my favorite poses from the yin practice. It's going to give you a hamstring and a hip stretch. There's also a degree of a twist and a little bit of a chest and shoulder stretch. So on your left side, try to make yourself like one straight line. You could either use the block under your head or just curl your arm up under your left arm up under your head. You're going to bring this right leg forward onto the floor, big toe side of the foot onto the floor, pinky pointing up. And this could be it for you right here. If you are already in this shape and you're like, oh, that's a lot of feelings, stay right here. Otherwise, you're going to start to let this top shoulder kind of drop back. It's probably not going to reach the floor for most of us. For some of you, it will. As you drop that right shoulder back, flex that right foot, and even press that right heel a little bit. This is where you'll feel that stretch across, again, the glute, the IT band, that hamstring, and maybe even a little bit of right calf. Now, if you're feeling really adventurous, you could bend this left knee, reach up with that right hand, grab a hold of your left foot. Then you get a little quad stretch at the same time. Yes, Frank Sinatra agrees, by the way. Yes, the cat's name is Frank Sinatra because he has very pretty blue eyes. Inhale, exhale. About 30 more seconds here. Again, this is such a great multitasking pose that you could do after a walk, a run, a bike ride. About 15 seconds here. All right, so if you're holding that left foot, that's going to be the first thing we let go of. Try not to rubber band your leg back out. Then your right shoulder, you're going to bring that forward. A little bend in this right knee so you can drag that right leg back. Ooh. Now you can just roll over onto your other side. I'm going to get up and move to the other side so you're not looking at my butt for the next 2 minutes. I'm saving that in case I have to start, like an OnlyFans page or something. So laying on your right side, again, you could use this right arm as your little pillow. We're going to restart our timer. And then you're going to bring that left leg forward. Now, for most of us, it's going to be the left ankle in line with that left hip. If you're a little tighter, it might be a little lower. If you're a little more flexible, a little bit higher. So again, start here. This could be where you stay for several breaths. Or start to drop that left shoulder back. Your right hand can start to cradle your head. Again, if this is your tighter side, pause where you need to. Maybe you bend the right knee. You grab it with that right foot, or left hand rather. Right foot and left hand. It might touch the floor, it might not. If it's tweaking that knee, this ain't for you, boo. let go of it. Breathe. This is a pose that's very tempting to hold your breath in. Try to fight that temptation. Halfway there. A little bit more than 30 seconds. You know, sometimes it's good just to do a practice of stuff where they're just easy, simple stretches that just feel good, where there's not a goal attached to it. You know, a lot of times, you know, if we're running or cycling, we sort of set this like personal goal. I'm going this far for this long, whatever. Even in like a vinyasa flow, you know, I'm going to go this deeper in this pose. I'm going to do this many chaturangas. And I think we sometimes forget that it's good to do stuff that just feels good. All right, then let go of that bottom leg. Bring that top shoulder up. Bring that top leg back. Oh. Roll onto your back. Hug your knees into your chest. A little bit of rocking side to side here. We're going to do just a slight inversion. If you have a block, grab it. If you don't, it's not necessary. Same setup as bridge. This time the block is going under your low back at the low setting if you're using it. If you're not using it, you don't need it. Your back can be flat on your mat. Then you're just going to bring your legs straight up into the sky for Viparita Karani. We're going to go for about 1 minute here. This time, as your arms are alongside you, bring your palms down just to kind of ground you into it. You could roll around your ankles up here, give them a little snap, crackle, pop moment. This is really good for getting the lymph fluid flowing and the blood flow kind of all over. Very good for stress, immunity, all of that stuff. About 30 more seconds. Then we're going to bend the knees, bring them towards the chest. 1 foot at a time to your mat. Lift up that block. Again, bring it out of the way. When your hips are down, a little bit of windshield wipering with your legs. Then stay on your back. I'm going to guide you through just a very brief yoga nidra into a little bit of a shavasana. At the end of it, you could just stay here. Let your eyes close, extend out your arms and your legs. Let your arms be far away from you, your palms facing up. Roll your feet in a few times, in and out. Imagine that breath could come in through the soles of your feet. As you breathe that breath in, draw it all the way up to the crown of your head and pause. And then open the mouth, exhale. This time as you draw that breath in, flex your feet, engage the muscles of your legs. Draw that breath all the way up to the crown of your head. As you open the mouth to exhale, soften the legs. Inhale through the soles of the feet, engage the muscles of the legs, squeeze the glutes. Draw that breath up to the crown of your head. Exhale, soften the glutes down to the feet. Good. Inhale through the feet, flex the feet, engage the legs, squeeze the glutes, make fists, tighten the arms. Exhale, soften all of that. Inhale, flex the feet, tighten the legs, squeeze the glutes, squeeze the hands, flex the arms, draw the shoulders up. Exhale, soften all of that. Here comes the big one. Inhale, flex the feet, tighten the legs, squeeze the glutes. Make fists, tighten the arms, shrug the shoulders, scrunch up the face, lift the head 1/4 inch off the floor, squeeze the eyes, hold the breath, sip in a little more, open the mouth, drop all of it onto the floor. As you inhale, inflate the belly, expand the ribs, puff out the chest, hold, open the mouth, exhale the chest, the ribs, the belly. Inhale the belly, the ribs, the chest, pause, Sip in a little more breath. Open the mouth, exhale. One last time. Inflate the belly, the ribs, the chest. Pause at the top. Sip in a little more, and a little more, and then a big rushing exhale out of the mouth. Rock your head side to side. Let the weight of the head rest heavy on your mat. Feel the weight of your shoulders drop into the floor, your low back and hips, the back of your knees and the heels, all heavy onto your mat, like you were trying to leave like a little life-size footprint of yourself on the mat. Feel some space between your fingers and your toes. Each exhale taking you deeper into this space. Feel free to stay in this space, in this shape, for as long as you like. I appreciate you clicking on to this practice. Namaste.